Well, it is the NGO week, and this week, the theme being NGOs' involvement in the sustainability of livelihoods. And so we take about 25 minutes of your time to get into this world of understanding just what do the NGOs do towards ensuring that there's that sustainability of livelihoods. On numerous occasions, we've had them being, pointed fingers at on how they're handling things, how they get involved in matters, politics or growth of a certain country or a nation. But equally, they have been celebrated because of the progress they've brought in terms of fighting for the rights of the people. And so that's what we'll be focusing on. And looking forward to that event that is scheduled to be broadcasted live on TV 47. We have a preamble discussion in regards to the same alongside Mutuma Nkanata, who's the executive director or the CEO of NGO Coordination Board, to take us through what we expect for the day and what is the progress that has been made towards the help of sustainable livelihoods in the country, pushed or driven by the NGOs, and what next and what is said to be achieved, and what are some of the obstacles that they face as a people. Thank you so much, sir, for finding time to be with us today. We'd probably give yourself a proper introduction of the same, and then we proceed to the conversation.
Thank you very much, Leader, for the warm welcome.
Thank you.
As you have said, my name is Mutuma Nkanata. I'm the CEO of NGO Coordination Board. NGO Coordination Board mandate is to facilitate and coordinate NGOs, both nationally and internationally in the country. We also do register NGOs. If you want to register an NGO, you come to our offices at Cooperative House, 15th floor. We will assist on the process of registration, and once you meet all the requirements, we will give you the certificate so that you can operate in the country. Apart from that, we also maintain that register of NGOs. We advise government in terms of the policy direction of the NGOs. What are they doing? We also advise NGOs on the policy direction of government. What are the policy issues that the government would like NGOs to address? So we act as the link between government and NGO, and we also work closely with the NGO Council, which is a body that brings together various NGOs, for purposes of self-regulation. So in a nutshell, we work closely with the NGOs, with the sector. We want to ensure that there is growth of the NGOs in the country, and that's why this particular week we are celebrating NGOs, what we are referring as NGO Week. One of the things we want to do is to showcase what NGOs are doing in the country, what is their role, what is their contribution in development. We also want to launch our sector report, which is a mandatory requirement for us to do. The sector report captures the state of NGOs and their role in development in the country on annual basis. So for this one is for between 2019 and 2020. And we will also be launching our directory, NGOs directory this particular week. We will have a series of webinars to celebrate various things, the role of NGOs in terms of what have they done in terms of COVID-19, how have they complemented government efforts. We are also looking at the question of sustainability, how can they be sustainable in view of the fact that there is the donor support, particularly from the West.
Yes.
And the question of how can they work closely with the county governments. Yeah, that is what we are looking forward to.
Incredible. And not to focus much on the negative, but just to take us back to 2018, where, was it 2018, 2017 there, where there were very many cases that were raised, or an alarm was raised in regards to the existence of numerous NGOs that were actually not registered in the country. As an entity, what is being done towards ensuring that we face off that scenario? And do you suppose then, as it stands today in the country, it's a clear picture, and we have the NGOs that are in existence, well registered and legit for that matter?
Yeah, thank you for that very important question. At the moment, there were issues in the past in terms of the NGOs, whether they were properly registered. There were issues of the registration. Quite a number of NGOs were registered. We went to court with some. But at the moment, I want to assure you, we are trying to mend the fence, because what the approach of the government at the moment is that we want to engage them to understand what are the issues, why have they not complied with the law. and we help them to comply with the law. For us, that's how we see ourselves, as a facilitator, as someone afraid of the approach to the sector. So our role more now is to ensure that all the NGOs comply with the law. We help them to grow, because once they grow, they create employment for the country. They complement government services. Like the last financial year, they contributed more than 160 billion Kenyan shillings to the economy, which was more than the money contributed by the tourism or even the tea sector. So we want people, we want governments and the population to focus more on NGOs also as one of the key drivers of our Kenyan economy. So for us now, yes, there was antagonism in the past between ourselves and them, but now we have come to an understanding, and we had several meetings with them. Before the outbreak of COVID, we had held several meetings across the country with the sector, meeting them. We had a meeting in Mombasa where we met more than 150 NGOs.
Okay.
We had one in Kisumu where we met almost 200 representatives of NGOs. We had another one in Nairobi where we met more than 250. We had one in Nakuru, almost the same number.
Just approximately how many are registered in the country? Since
NGO board came into existence through an act of parliament in 1992, NGO Coordination Act, we have registered more than 11,000 NGOs.
No conflict of interest?
Definitely, it is very difficult to say whether there is conflict of interest, particularly on themselves. But what we know is that not all of them that are active. Quite a number are not active.
All right.
But there are a significant number of them are a bit active. But we understand the challenges that they face. Sometimes raising money, we have these young graduates who complete college, they don't have jobs. And they are told that if you register an NGO, you can easily get a job. They register an NGO. Unfortunately, they don't get money the first year, the second year, the third year. So those organizations are not active. But the others that are very active, like in the last 2-3 years, more than about 3,000 NGOs normally submit returns to us.
Okay.
So yes, we have a big database of NGOs, more than 11,000, but that doesn't mean that all of them are active.
After how long would they then be rendered useless in the event that maybe they fail to be active for a long time?
Yes, now we are on the process of cleaning our data.
Okay.
We are on the process of publishing all those NGOs that have been not submitting returns. We will give them notice. We will give them a time to comply. If they don't, then we will definitely register them so that we can have a number that is active. Yes.
All right. Speaking of these numerous numbers, then it's a clear indication that the role of the NGO is really important, not just in the country, but across the global fraternity. So then what is the role of NGO in the country? I know you've mentioned a couple of them in terms of driving the economy and so much. So what is this crucial role, especially when we look at the theme of this week's celebration?
Thank you, Rita. Definitely, NGOs play a very significant role. In the past, people's dream jobs when we were growing up was to work with these international NGOs. With an NGO, people didn't even imagine working with the government. They were saying that if I can get a job with the NGO, then I will have a good pay, I will live a good life.
Has that changed?
It has not changed in a big way,
it's still
because they are still among the top payers in the country. So NGOs are in various sectors. One, the key sector is the health sector. For example, now, if you look at the report that we'll be launching in the next 2 hours or so, you realize that they contributed more than 21 billion. They injected more than 21 billion in the health sector, which means they complement, they supplement government in a big, big way. There are some areas in this country where, if you go there, you'll find that the health services that are being provided, they are being provided by NGOs, of course, sometimes in conjunction with government, especially in those remote areas. If you look at the role of the children and education, they have injected a lot of money in the children's sector. They are also supporting the vulnerable children in terms of education, even in terms of food, basic food. If you go to the slums, people wonder how sometimes people survive in the slums. There are many organizations that are injecting money directly to families so that they can sustain those families, especially during this COVID-19. They have spent billions of money in those vulnerable communities within the cities, of course, in support of what government is doing. And If you look at the issues of environment, people always remember Wangari Maathai and the Green Belt Movement, which is an NGO. We have so many other organizations. We have leaders in the environmental issues, like Dr. Mideka Mwenda of Pachka. So there are so many organizations that are in different sectors, in agriculture, in irrigation, in water. They are supporting families, they are supporting communities. So NGOs are playing a very significant role. If it comes to the issues of human rights, issues of expanding democratic space, making people to be accountable, you can always see that they always keep government on their toes sometimes.
And I mean, that has been something that, has made them have fingers pointed at them, because there's a feel that, there's so much interference and, that comes along with so much negativity. How do you take it? Do you consider that as a challenge? And in numerous ways, has it altered the performance of the NGOs? Because I've heard on several occasions across different African governments, the question is, there's that incitement by the NGOs, by the civil rights societies and all that, to a point where it brings toxicity as opposed to bringing the aspect of human rights.
Yes, there are those perceptions in terms of whether NGOs are promoting issues of human rights or they are using human rights to push other agendas. For now, I can tell you, since for the last 2 years I've been working here at the NGO Coordination Board as the CEO when I was recruited. We have worked very well with various organizations, human rights organizations included, organizations dealing with governance and all that. Obviously, sometimes it's very difficult to separate politics and issues of governance, particularly within the African countries. Kenya is a little bit lucky because the current regime, President Uhuru Kenyatta, he has no baggage, he has nothing to hide, and he has given us a free hand to operate. That's why if you look at our program today, you'll be having one of the key speakers, a representative from Amnesty International. So because the government has nothing to hide, and we work closely with all those institutions that are in the forefront of championing good governance, challenging even governors, ministers, senior people in government, because they operate in that particular free space. And the government does not, so long as they are operating within the law, so long as they are doing things in the right way. But of course, in quite a number of other African countries, we have seen people using organizations, including terrorists. They use NGOs to bring money in countries, to destabilize the countries. So those are the things that government are looking at, so that we don't have bad elements who come and spoil the broth.
Is that a challenge to the coordination board? Because then I'd want to assume, as much as you register NGOs, it is also incumbent upon you to equally just understand how, in what mode they're operating, whether they're genuine in the first place and all that. So you would not want to get any friction in existence between the board and the government. And so what is normally done towards ensuring that, as you clear these NGOs, then they are legit NGOs, will not be used to destabilize a state?
I think that's an extremely important question, and one of the areas of focus. We launched our strategic plan last year, and one of the areas that we say that we will strengthen is the question of regulations and compliance with our regulations. We normally provide certain regulations. Once an NGO is registered, it's supposed to comply with certain things. They're supposed to submit to us annual returns, which they tell us what they have been doing that particular year, how much money they spent, what were the sources of money. If they change the offices, they tell us they have changed the offices. So we also sometimes go to visit those organizations to see what they are doing, whether they are working within the mandate they were given, because when you register, you say that you'll be operating in this particular area, dealing with these issues, working in these counties. So sometimes if you go outside that, then we will always ask you why, and that one will attract some consequences. Okay,
achievements of the coordination board so far, and what would you pinpoint as one key thing that has been a driving factor towards strengthening, the relationship of NGOs, with the people and the government?
One of the things that has been our driving force, something that has been motivating us, is when you look at the role that the NGOs have been playing in the country. They have contributed immensely in complementing government services, and which we really truly appreciate, and even the government appreciates that, and that's why they support them in terms of whatever they are doing. For the last 2 years I've been at the NGO Coordination Board. We have seen a lot of transformation of the board in terms of the way we do business. We didn't have a strategic plan. We have a strategic plan in place now. We are on the process of automating our services. We have mended our relationship with the sector. Now we are no longer antagonistic. They don't see us as enemies, or we see them as enemies. People who are not, are fighting government. We see each other now as stakeholders, as partners in driving the agenda of this country and supporting government agenda. So we can say that we have mended our relationship with the sector. We are working very closely, which means also the government now is working very closely with the sector. We are on the process of automating our services because one of the challenges that was facing is that everything was being done manually, up to date, but now we are almost finalizing our automation process. So we are very proud of what we have done. When you look back, we say that we have achieved a lot in terms of helping the sector grow. One of the challenges that we are seeing as we move forward is the question of sustainability of these organizations because of the dwindling support from external support. And part of the discussions that we are having this week is to ask ourselves, what else can we do as Kenyans also to support NGOs? We have serious corporate organizations that are making profits. We have big organizations like Safaricom, big banks, like Equity, KCB and all that. They make a lot of profit. There are individuals with a lot of money in this country. Now, we also want to tell them, no, it's time now also to share. Now that even COVID is killing people like that, it's time to reflect as individuals, as corporates, and say that whatever we have, it's not just for ourselves. Let's also share with others.
That's true.
Let's share with others. Let's see these corporates supporting NGOs in their programs. Those who are working in the rural areas, providing medicine, providing health services, providing education to people who could never have gone to school. Let's see, what can you do as a corporate? You have made billions, you have made millions. You don't just plow all the back the profits. Let's also share with people. You have seen there are people who are extremely rich in this country. They die with billions in their accounts. The children start fighting for the billions. Let them also share with the needy through NGOs.
Well, good one right there. I hope this lands into the right ears. As we come to a close, and maybe before you tell us what to expect for the day, what to expect for the NGO week and all that, Fazul Mohammed resigned, and I know we don't want to get back into that, but then it was quite a controversial period for him. And on this one, picking it up from it, you say you have done so well, you are confident that so much is happening. What do we expect in the coming future?
We are very optimistic. Our dream is to see that Kenya becomes the humanitarian city, not just of Africa, but of the world. We have created a very friendly environment for NGOs to be headquartered in Nairobi. And we have seen movements. NGOs are coming back. There are those who had decided to go to South Africa, others are decided to go to Ethiopia, others are decided to remain in Europe and the rest. Now they are saying that Kenya is a place to come and get an office, have staff, recruit our people locally, we create jobs. They come, they rent our houses, people will get some money, they'll go to buy maize, beans as food. We want to make Kenya the center of the humanitarian activities and the NGO sector in the world by providing that conducive environment for them to come and work, so that they see us as friends. Kenyans are very friendly people. Nairobi is a very lively and beautiful city with a very good environment and weather. That is what we want to market Kenya has. Secondly, we also want to see the growth of the sector. or we want to see NGOs that are started here growing to become also international NGOs. Just the way, you'll see the things like Plan International, World Vision, they were started somewhere. Let's also see the organizations that are started here growing to become international organization. That is our dream. We want to see more funding coming. We want to see them having more resources. Also generating their own resources, creating their own resources. That's the dream we have for them.
All right, that's incredible. So as we close it, sir, why the NGO week? Maybe in a minute or two maximum. And what do we expect?
Thank you very much, Leader. The reason why you are having NGO week is basically to celebrate NGOs and to showcase whatever they have been doing, because many people don't understand the work of NGOs in the country. They just hear NGOs, these organizations, they don't know what they are doing. There are also many people who want to go to that area and they have never understood that sector well. So we want to showcase exactly what we are doing. Today we are planning to launch the sector report. We are also planning to launch the NGO week and to launch an NGOs directory. So that if you want to know how many NGOs are there, which is dealing with what, their contacts and all that, we have a one-stop point. That is the NGO directory. That is what we will do today to launch that.
All right.
Then tomorrow we will have a series of, we will have a webinar on NGOs and the COVID-19. We will have some discussions. We have several organizations that will be having that. On Wednesday, we will have we will have a webinar on the future of development of the role of the profit and charitable sector. And then on Thursday, we will be celebrating some champions, NGOs champions in the country. And then lastly on Friday, we will be having some talking on devolution. And then the other thing, Leader, is that it's not only webinars and the activities are not only in Nairobi. We are also having activities in the regions. We have activities in Mombasa taking place, in Kisumu, in Eldoret, in Garissa. So we want to have activities across the country. Yes.
All right, all the best, and we look forward to more progress in regards to that. The Executive Director of the Non-Governmental Organization Coordination Board, that is Mr. Mutuma Nkanata. Thank you so much for that, and we look forward to more. We watch out for this one. It begins today, you say?
Yes.
And it will be streaming live on TV47.
You will be watching live on TV47.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, watch out for that right here. So make sure that you keep it TV47, the home of untold stories. We do not go without reminding you that the Judicial Service Commission is set to kick off the interviews for shortlisted candidates for the position of Chief Justice. And first to face the panel will be the Justice, will be Justice Chitembwe Said Juma. 10 candidates have been shortlisted for interviews that will last as this time around, and we'll be following up on that, and we get the updates just to make sure that you are well updated, even as we look forward to know who will be the next Chief Justice of the nation. We close